Well, unfortunately, the property tax issue has been a major problem on both sides of our state line. It actually has been a problem in many parts of the country over the last few years. And every state seems to have a different answer on what needs to be done about it. Of course, some states don't care. Some cities here in our area don't care. Some counties don't care. We know that all too well. But you do have state lawmakers that are trying to get this thing right. And on the Missouri side of the state line, you've got the Show Me Institute Director of Municipal Policy, David C. Stokes, joining us here on KCMO Talk Radio. And he is set to submit testimony to the Missouri House of Representatives Special Interim Committee on Property Tax Reform. All right. Break this down simply for us today, David. What are you going to do?
That's ratings gold, isn't it, Pete? You just read a title like that off on the radio. It's like you can hear it.
It's not. So now it's your job to not make it even worse. Go ahead.
Well, you hit it on the head there. In that cities, it's different in each state. It's different in each city. It's different in each county, and that's sort of the interesting position that Jackson County is in. And I know we've talked about this in the past, but This isn't a defense. This should make your Jackson County listeners even angrier. That it is the property tax and assessment system in Jackson County has been far worse for a decade than in the rest of the state of Missouri. It's not like this is there are problems and reforms needed statewide in Missouri, no doubt. And that's what I'll talk about in the testimony I submitted. And it's up right now at showmeinstitute.org.
Okay, so what's your proposal? Break it down simply for us. What's the proposal? What's your idea?
Well, the proposal, and statewide, in the quickest possible terms, is to stop the individual assessment of everybody's house. That's what leads to the inconsistency, even in places where the overall assessments are accurate. That's not Jackson County. The overall assessments are crazy. But in places where they are accurate, it's still inconsistent from block to block and neighbor to neighbor, and that's what drives people crazy. When, first of all, they're angry that they went up 20%, but then you get even angrier when you realize that your neighbor on one side went up 10% and your other neighbor went up 2%, and all your houses are similar. And that's the inconsistency which drives people crazy. And also, when you then set the tax rate, when you roll it back based on that average increase, that inconsistency crushes people because a lot of people are above average. That 20%, you might roll the rates back 7 or 8%. And the person who went up 7 or 8% comes out just fine. They see a small increase, if anything at all. But the people who are above average still get creamed. And you've seen so much of that in Jackson County and other parts of the state. And that's why I just want to, whether you do it by school district or county or whatever, just figure out the average increase for the area or occasionally the decrease, as we've had in past years, and then make everybody the same, and then you adjust the rate based on that, and people come out and people are treated similarly, and people's taxes don't skyrocket. Or what you have happen in most of the states, some people's taxes skyrocket, and some people don't. And you never hear from the people who don't have a big increase. You obviously hear from the people who just do. So that's the scenario statewide. You have a unique situation in Jackson County, and I'm very much hoping that electing the assessor, if voters approve that in a couple months, as I assume they will, I'm hoping that electing the assessor will improve things because it will make somebody accountable for finally running that office in a way that is fair to the people of Jackson County.
So are you saying then, David Stokes with the Show Me Institute, are you saying then that the property tax for every homeowner should just be, a percentage of... You're saying it shouldn't be a percentage of your home value. You're saying there should just be a flat rate and everyone pays not the same rate. Like I'm still confused. So I know if I'm confused, the listener's confused. So how do you want to calculate the property taxes?
I'm saying that if in Clay County, the average increase for a home in a 2-year period is, let's say it goes up 8%, then instead of individually assessing everybody's home, and even if you come out in the end with an 8% average, and this, we have real estate data. I feel like the $6 million man promo from the 70s. We have the technology. We don't need to be individually assessing everybody's home. We have real estate data to know what the average increase or decrease is. So just increase everybody. If the average in Clay County is 8%, Don't individually assess everybody's home. Just raise people 8% and then roll the tax rates back 8%, or if you want to throw in an inflation adjustment, roll them back, 6%.
I see.
And nobody gets walloped.
Yeah.
Everybody is treated the same, and people's final tax bill is the same and equal. Your increase, or occasionally again decrease, is going to be similar. And you'll remove the inconsistency from neighbor to neighbor and house to house that drives people crazy. And that's for 113 counties in the state of Missouri. For Jackson County, you need a whole bunch of other stuff.
Okay. So did you see this? Platte County put out a press release this morning. You may have not seen it, but because it just came down from the Platte County Commission, Scott Fricker, presiding commissioner, had this. And it says here that Platte County is finalizing a negotiated agreement that requires the county to raise all residential property values 6.8% over the 2024 assessed value. They said that this more closely aligns with actual home price increases. Is that an easy way for counties to go about doing this in the meantime until the state figures out something to do?
Well, okay, you're right. I haven't read that, and I'll check it out as soon as I'm off air here. So sort of just taking what you said and what I think it means, it is sort of like that. And I assume that's an agreement with the State Tax Commission to correct some underassessment or some inconsistent assessments in that county, at least according to the State Tax Commission. So, yes, if you're then going to raise everybody by the same amount, that's a good thing. That's what I'm talking about. Because then school districts, fire districts, the county itself, cities can all roll their rates back 6% or 5% or something. And then taxpayers are treated the same in the end. And you don't have this extreme problem that we have in the Kansas City 33 school district, which we've talked about so many times on the show, where they're exempt from that tax rate rollback. So people in Jackson County, if you're in that school district, your assessed value goes up 25% or more, and the school district doesn't even have to roll their rates back to the hall. So then your tax bill goes up 25 to 30%.
Yeah.
That's the other unique change that we need to make in Kansas City to end that exemption. That's killing people in big parts of Kansas City, and yet nobody seems to have the will to say, look, the desegregation issue in Kansas City was a long time ago. It's time to get rid of these holdovers from it that are hurting taxpayers.
David Stokes, so we'll end on this. I think we agree on this issue. The state of Missouri, which many folks have lobbied and advocated for basically capping property taxes for senior citizens, is a bogus, BS, politically motivated idea that Republicans in many cases have gotten behind, because all that does is then shift the tax burden to younger people with families who, frankly, in many cases might be squeezed more right now than folks who have kids out of the home and whatnot. That is a politically motivated idea trying to buy votes from senior citizens. Do you agree with that assessment?
Oh, absolutely, Pete. And I've been going around the state. I was one of the only people showing up in Jefferson City to testify in hearings against this plan, and testifying in various counties around the state as they adopt it and submitting. Right. This is very bad public policy. We're sort of moving in the wrong direction on property tax. A lot of these reforms, we need reforms to our property tax system. In Jackson County, we need enormous changes. But this senior property tax freeze and similar type, we're going to create some counties at 5%, some at 0%, and some don't change at all. That was the change we did in the special session. I mean, that's treating each county different and each taxpayer different, and that's bad policy. We need the tax base to be as broad as possible so that rates can be as low as possible for everybody. And when you freeze it for senior citizens, you're inevitably making it higher on everybody else. And that's a very bad idea.
Yep. Well done. Well, it's a tough issue to break down simply, David Stokes. As always, I give you a solid A- on your work on this front. So thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
An A+ for effort. But you're right, I gotta make it a little more concise here and there. I agree. I'll keep working on it.
We don't grade on effort. We grade on results on this show, David. Okay.
I love it. That's the way it should be.
Thank you, my man. Well done. Always appreciate you.
Thanks, Steve.
That's a great job by David C. Stokes. Find him there on social media with the Show Me Institute.